Hey guys, welcome back. It's time. We're going to be digging into the front end of this Chevelle. It's all original. It's going to be greasy. It's going to be dirty. There's going to be a lot of parts to this series, but I'm going to show you everything about what I'm doing, where I've gotten stuff, and how much it costs. You stick with me, we'll figure it out together. Welcome to Be Shifted. Alright, so first things first, I'm going to raise this thing up. I'm going to take the wheels off, and then we're going to get into all the parts, what they look like now. Okay, we give it the test. The test is pretty solid. Okay, we got front drums on this one. You can see that the upper ball joint is still riveted on there. It's original. We've got the old bushings up there, the upper control arm bushings. They are, I mean, I think the bushings might be fine, but the rubber is definitely wearing and old. Lower ones, same issue back there. Here's your front tie rod end. Not great. Not great. Oh, nice. They have some spring spring extenders there. Those are real nice. It looks like the sway bar bushings have been, sway bar end links rather, have been replaced. The sway bar bushings are gone. Not gone, but really rough. I'm going to set you all up to an angle that you hopefully can see something, and we'll get to work taking this stuff apart. We'll let that sit for a bit. We're going to work on something else. Here she goes. That is not doing anything for anyone at all. You can hear it. There's nothing in there. This boot and this tie rod died a while ago. And our inner tie rod is going to have the same issue. You can see this is like one finger. It's shot. But it's to be expected. It's from 1972. So now we have more access into the goods. Oh, look at this lower ball joint. That is just caked. Positively caked in grease. That's amazing. You can see that right here. Looks like we've been contacting, let's see, where was that? Maybe in a right-hand turn, we were contacting our sway bar. That's not good. Or sorry, a left-hand turn, we're turning to the left. It's not good at all. And I think the same is going to be true for the upper and the lower ball joints. I mean, they're just going to be shot. So what I did here, I did heat. Well, first I did penetrating fluid, nothing. Heat, nothing. Some more penetrating fluid, let it sit, tapped on it a little bit, let that fluid try to get down into the threads and into the actual flat body of this right here. And it either worked or I changed my position. I actually got my body up and was hitting hard, and it came out. So that's two things down. Now we need the upper ball joint and the lower ball joint. Now, this spring is tired. I know that. However, it is still very much, what's the word I want to use? It's very much a point of caution. So the way I'm going to do this is the way that I've seen countless people do it. I've done it myself once, but on a completely different vehicle. Basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of the shock. I'm going to take the shock out because that's also holding this together. But the lower ball joint and the upper ball joint are what's holding this spring under pressure. So, you know, I could loosen that castle nut, pop that ball joint, and what that's going to do is that's going to slam this control arm down. And that spring, there's a high chance of it, while it shoots out, coming outwards towards me and hitting me. And, you know, again, very tired spring. I doubt that's going to happen on this one, but I'm still going to be very cautious. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come up underneath this with a jack and simulate that same pressure using the weight of the vehicle, that the same pressure that the ball joint is exerting to keep it in. I'm going to put the jack underneath here, and then once the ball joint is disconnected and my steering knuckle is completely removed from the vehicle, at that point I will release the pressure slowly so that the spring can expand and then fall out of the cup. And at that point we will have our upper control arm off and our lower control arm off, and then we'll start moving towards the center of the vehicle. Get our sway bar. I believe, again, I think this is the Pitman arm. I'm gonna have to double check. One of these two is the Pitman and Idler, but I will double check and then get back to you. I'll make sure that's the right name. I'm trying not to be wrong, but there's always going to be a chance that I'm wrong about things because this is not what I do for a living. I want it to be. I'm working on getting that to be my reality. However, I'm just trying to get into this because I love it. I love working on things and hammering and getting greasy. And if you like that too, you know, or if you've never even tried it before, maybe this will show you, like, you can get into it. You can do this. You could have a sweet muscle car and have the confidence to actually fix on it and make it what you want. Another thing you need to be cautious of are these brake lines. We have a rubber hose here. That's our soft brake line. We have a hard brake line here that I'm going to have to be very careful of. It's going through a bracket. The bracket is not split, so that means I'm going to have to figure out how to loosen that. It'll probably twist off and break, and I'm sure they have just a ton of these lying around. Future me problems though. So I'm gonna get to work, basically. Right now what you're seeing me do is I have to take this brake line off. Okay. And I'm planning for it to leak, but I don't want it all over everywhere. But I also I don't want all of it to be out of my system, because I'm okay with bleeding some brakes, but I don't want to bleed the entire system. It's not fun. I'm probably gonna have to do it anyway, but it's not fun. Anyway, so what I'm going to do, there's this, like I mentioned before, this soft line here. I have the bracket undone, and there is a hard line going into the wheel cylinder, the back of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to undo this wheel cylinder. I'm going to have this bungee cord here. There's 2 holes in this frame. They're supposed to be there. And I'm going to have this bungee cord ready to go. Ready to go. Ready to go. I'll have it ready to go. And when I take that brake line off, I'll be able to curl it up so the head is not, just bleeding all over my floor. You guys gotta see this. Look how much grease is caked in here. That is impressive. Right here, if I can get the light where I need it to be. Right here is where that hard brake line was sitting. I'm gonna clean all this up. Get you guys back in a minute. I've seen these before, and I never knew what they were. Or rather, what they did. I still don't know what they're called. The brake housing holder on, or P? What do they call that? I'm going to take out the shock real quick. Then I'll bring you back in for taking this, separating the upper ball joint from the steering knuckle and lowering it semi-carefully. All right, I separated the upper ball joint from the steering knuckle. Now it is time for me to put the jack underneath the lower control arm, and then I will relieve some of the pressure off. I put the castle nut back on the actual ball joint so that when it popped, it didn't just splay open. So now I'm going to put the jack underneath the lower control arm, relieve some of that pressure, take that bolt off, and then we're going to slowly, without trying to hurt ourselves, release the pressure, and the spring should just open right up. Super easy. So hang out for a second and watch that. I think that's the first time this ball joint has moved in a long time. I also just learned a lesson. Keep your hub on. Doesn't seem like it's going to be a terrible lesson. Doesn't look like the spindle's destroyed too much, or at all, but could have been bad. I wasn't worried about these brakes anyway. They had a big old crack down the center of them, and I mean, they had a lot of life left, but they sat for a long time and they got pretty bad, so I'm not too worried about that. Now I'm going to get this spring out. We'll get the upper control arm off, the lower control arm. Oh yeah. Some good grinding there. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really friggin' excited to get the new ball joints in here, because I've experienced what it's like to have old ones and new ones really like back to back, and it's a treat. It really is. Brings life back to these things. Look at this bump stop. Absolutely destroyed. There's the bottom of it. It's a good work. So much more room for activities down here. It's all gone over there in a heap, and the upper control arms right there. This is gonna be fun. I'm super excited about this. Okay, got the other side taken off. Now we've got the sway bar, the steering linkage. No. Why? How would you even? How would you? If you don't have one of these, get one. They're amazing. It's like operation. So, way higher stakes. Bzz, bzz, bzz. Got it. Cool. Alright, this side is detached. Yeah. Now we got the other side. Going to organize all of these parts that I just took off over here, and then I'm going to bring you around, show you what I know, and I'll kind of go over what I'm going to do next. Hang tight. Okay guys, I don't know how many hours it's been. Maybe 6, 7, 8 hours. 8 hours, and pretty tired. But it was mostly just because working on cars is pretty awesome, but it's exhausting. So I'm happy about that. What we have is nice, organized. Every bolt is accounted for, every nut, every cotter pin. I know a lot of those things are going to go by the wayside and be replaced. Almost every piece of this steering linkage is going to be replaced. The sway bar, I don't know what I want to do yet with that. I don't know if I want to do new sway bar bushings and just clean up the sway bar, or if I want to get a more stocky sway bar. Not sure yet. Maybe you could tell me what you would prefer. Put it down in the comments. Put the right drum back together, the exception of the actual shoe. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to be replacing that anyway. They're all cracked up on both sides actually. But in the interest of keeping parts together, I reassembled the hub. So yeah, if you liked this part of the video, or this part of the series rather, please subscribe. Please hit like and leave me a comment. What are you excited to see? What would you do? How would you have done it? This is my first time. I learned a ton, specifically with whatever this piece right here is. I think it's the pitman arm. But yeah, like the bolts going through the frame rail there, that was a little surprise. It was one moment where I was like, uh-oh, I don't know what to do here. And there were a couple moments like with the spring on both sides. I remember my dad telling me when we were doing ball joints, I believe it was a 70 Old Cutlass. It was green. When we were doing ball joints, he told me that he was taking his out and either the jack failed or something failed within the actual frame or the lower control arm. I can't remember what he said, but he said it sent that spring flying so hard that it actually stuck into the neighbor's tree. So yeah, that is the only experience I had taking springs out of a classic car on the A body. So definite moment of fear, but I overcame it, and I still have to clean up all my tools, but I mean, we're clean as a whistle down here, which is exciting, super exciting. I'm gonna figure out, I think that is called, oh, don't do the focus thing. That thing right here, that little arm there, I think that's called the idler arm, but I also could have it backwards. I could have that being the pitman arm and the other arm over there being the idler arm. I don't know. Like I said, let me know. I'd love to I'd love to find out so I don't put out misinformation. But I have a lot of cleaning up to do. My tools are all over the floor and they are dirty. So it's another thing my dad taught me. He said, clean your tools when you're done. That way they stay nice and, you know, you can keep using them for as long as you have them. So yeah, thanks for joining. Please subscribe and I will see you on the next one.